everyone, and welcome back to Do We Know Them? I'm Lily Marston here with Jessie Smiles, and we're on episode 165.
Yeah, this episode is going to be one that people have been asking for a lot. These are two topics we've been getting tagged in nonstop on TikTok, and I thought they would be old by now, but they're actually not. People are still tagging us. There's still updates, so, it's about time we cover it.
I honestly wouldn't know because I feel like I haven't really been on social media because we've been just editing constantly for a week.
I feel like TikTok is one of the only ones that I actually do scroll in my free time, though, and I'm telling you, nonstop tags in both of these. So anyway, which one do you want to start with? Do you want to do Ballerina Farm or the Chelsea King? No, not Chelsea King. Oh yeah, I think her name is Chelsea King against King Jewelers.
I don't know about either
Jewelry
of
or
them.
cows. Or, well, I guess it's not about cows at all. I don't know why I said that. It's just a farm. They have cows, but that has nothing to do with the story. It's a lady on a farm.
Cows.
Okay.
Sorry guys, we took a quick intermission because I was having some microphone issues. Hopefully I'm not anymore because this is a different microphone, but in case you noticed. Anyway, carry on.
So this topic is going to be, again, not about cows. It's going to be about Hannah Nealman, who is married to Daniel Nealman. And Hannah is the ballerina on Ballerina Farm. She actually was like a real life ballerina. It's not just like she likes ballet. Like she went to Juilliard and is like an incredible ballerina. And she married Daniel, whose parents just so happen to be the billionaire owners of JetBlue Airways. I don't know what the fuck they call it, but you know what I mean.
Oh.
I'm assuming you're familiar with their small farm business.
I always wonder with people like that, like, do they just like go on dates and then the person finds out like while they're on the date, it's like, oh, what do you do? And it's like, well, nothing because my parents own JetBlue.
They were introduced by a mutual friend at a college basketball game. He said, and I quote, "I saw her and I was ready to go. Sign me up. I was thinking, let's get married. But she wouldn't go on a date with me for 6 months." Also, he looks like Mark Ruffalo. Okay, those are the only pointless facts. He looks like Mark Ruffalo if you drew him from memory.
Okay. Sure. Oh, and she was
Yeah, Miss Utah. Okay, so yeah, Utah. Ugh, we're getting into all the nitty gritty of it.
The Mormons.
They're Mormons.
Yep.
Yeah, the Mormons. We've actually talked about her once before on this channel, and it was really quick in passing. I don't remember the exact context, but I know it had to do with something. We were talking about Nara Smith. She's in the trad wife community. People kind of thought that she was this like, I don't know, not blue collar, but just like this farm wife, and all her videos are very like, I don't know, everything looks wooden and cottagey and old. And then her stove behind her is like so fucking expensive, and it's like an all cast iron bougie
I
stove.
remember talking about that.
Yeah, so that's when people realized who Daniel's parents were, and she actually, because of her social media, they have over 7 million followers on the Ballerina Farm TikTok, so they're very successful.
From her being a trad wife?
From her making all the content, yeah, because she does a lot of cooking stuff, so she'll like make her own cheese, make her own sauce, make her own bread, and like casually whip up a dinner for her 8 children. She has 8 children.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah. The reason we're talking about her today is like she's not new to the internet, but what is new is this article that came out from the UK Times. They went out to her farm and like shadowed her for a day, and the article
UK Times?
Yeah, they have a Times too.
No, but they came to Utah?
Yeah, I suppose so.
It feels kind of random.
But this article has blown up the internet because some could say that the route that this article took was definitely more of an expose of how Hannah is like this person that like basically gets spoken for by her husband and her children, and she's just like a shell of a human being who really would rather go be a ballerina in New York. And it is something. So we're gonna go through the article, but I do want to introduce you a little bit to Hannah first. In case you don't know who this is, you've probably seen her. She's starting to get more lifestyle with it, I will say, and I think it's because she wants to be a little bit more relatable. Kind of like Nara Smith is starting to like joke about the fact that people like say a lot of things about her being a trad wife.
You reference Nara Smith like I've seen more than one video.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh. I've seen like a
Definitely
billion of Nara
different
Smith's
For You pages.
videos. Check this out. She's literally from getting the chickens, she gets the eggs, hauls them to her house. It's like showing,
yeah, I would not. They have billions of dollars.
Exactly, right? They kind of like cosplay as like people during the Great Depression. And I get it. Homesteading, okay, period, go off. But, it's just...
I don't know. I'd get like a live-in someone. It seems like a lot of work.
That's actually really interesting that you bring that up because that's something that this article covers. So anyway, people know her for that, right? She's like the person that gets praised because, oh my God, you not only have the farm, which, a lot of people, I don't want to say it's like homesteading to right-wing pipeline, but like for some reason that's connected.
Yeah.
I don't think there's anything wrong with homesteading. I mean, my mom has chickens and ducks and it's great.
it's like with the like no chemicals and the like
it becomes fear mongering really quick. Like if I eat from a grocery store, they're going to poison us and we're all going to die.
Well, and then also once you're like self-sufficient, then it's like they are preparing for like, you know, doomsday, the apocalypse.
Exactly. So, but then also there's the element that these people are from Utah. So we've talked about this a million times. Mormons get married really quickly and have a shit ton of children. That's like their specialty. Yeah. Like, I think that's literally what they're supposed to do. I don't know much about Mormonism.
There's some kind of weird thing where it's like there's different levels of enlightenment. I want to say it's like, yes. I don't know if it's the more kids you have or the more wives you have.
Jesus.
one of the two. It could have been just a certain kind of Mormon religion, but anyway. I definitely think there are reasons though that are like beyond like we don't have birth control. They're like taught to like we want to have lots of children.
They're also just extremely pro-life. Like they're anti-abortion and will never ever have one. So that results in a lot of fucking kids. Anyway, so I could make a long story long and go into the whole history of Hannah Nealman, but really, like, she hasn't had any insane controversies other than people were like, oh my God, you're rich and you're Mormon. Like, that's really it. And that she's an heir to $1 billion corporation as long as she stays married to Daniel. So moving on to this article, because wow, it's really something. So they went over to her house. It was this woman. She actually went on TikTok and like made a few TikToks on this. And how do you feel about journalists in general? Have you ever been interviewed for like a big article? Mm-hmm. And did that turn out how you thought it would?
No, not in like a negative way, but in like a that's what you picked. I don't know. I've done several interviews for Clever where they were like pretty big ones, and it was just like they took very, I don't know if I just like don't give good sound bites, but I don't know. It was kind of anticlimactic, I felt like. But I've never had like a negative one.
I feel like in my case, specifically the Rolling Stones article, and I've talked about this before on the podcast, like I felt bamboozled by that. Like he told me one thing, promised me he wouldn't interview certain people, promised my mother, like in front of me, like, hey, I have a daughter, I would never, and then did it. And I was like, oh my God, like what the fuck is this world? I didn't know that was a thing. Like we sat down, had lunch, I had multiple conversations with this person, and it was like a really jarring situation that made me never really do interviews again. So this is basically someone who came over to, from her own words, because there is a TikTok of her getting ready for this shadowing to happen, and she seems excited. She's like, the UK Times is coming over.
We have the UK Times is coming out and doing a profile piece. Hi, Jojo. So we're getting ready for that. They're just going to shadow us during the day just as we make meals and be a mom and create content.
She was like, they're going to shadow us for a day, see how the farm works. And I think that that's not what happened. I don't know if that was a journalist's intention going into it or if that's just what she observed while she was there.
So one of the differences also is like when I've been interviewed for stuff, it was like we had a little sit down interview that lasted like 20 minutes. I think with like huge pieces like this, they do go for like the whole, or even with celebrities, like the way they're written, it's like they're following them around for the day. So they're making note of everything you do and everything they see.
Everything. I remember they described my mom in the Rolling Stones one as like almost like a Kris Jenner, like momager type character, and I was like, I mean, what? Yeah, I don't know if because she was like overprotective of me, but like they get a vibe and they write it in detail and they will like low-key diss you, basically. Like they're just like, they're doing it in a very profound way. Like they're very like proper about it, but
also I think usually like when they go into it, they don't know exactly what their angle is going to be. So then like throughout the day, they might either like decide like, oh, that'll be good. And then they like start to ask certain questions that'll help shape that narrative. But the person has no idea. And it's definitely not just like, I'm going to write a great piece on you. It's like, no, they need something that's like going to hook people.
Yeah, I want people to keep that in mind. This has been taken many different ways. And I definitely have an opinion about this article. Like, I see where the journalist was coming from. But keep in mind, journalists are out for the story. They're not out to protect this woman or, you know, you would hope so. Everybody has the integrity of a journalist. But like, come on, let's be real.
I don't think all journalists are slimy, but a lot of them are.
Yeah. So the title of this article itself is kind of shady. It's Meet the Queen of the Tradwives and Her 8 Children. If you don't know what a tradwife is, it's basically a woman who fulfills quote unquote traditional roles, and it will be very much dedicated to homesteading and caring for the children and all that stuff. And I don't know about Queen of the, I honestly would put Nara Smith ahead of her for Queen of the Tradwives. I think she's like, well, and then not even in the running for princess.
Specifically when I think of tradwives on TikTok, it's very much the vibe of like, I don't know if Nara Smith, does Nara Smith talk?
Yes. but like very soft and like, hi, I'm gonna make some soup.
The ones that are like, I can't ever tell if they're parodies or not, where it's like, oh, my husband said he's been craving Kit Kats and I decided that I was going to make them from scratch.
She is
At 2
dead
in the
ass about
morning.
it, but she also is like, she plays into it to like, she knows people make fun of her for that. So she does play into it and makes her own, like, I don't think she was serious about the SPF. I hope she wasn't, but like her own sunscreen and like bubble gum. And it's like, girl, please.
But
I beg.
like one of the more dramatic ones, it's like the kids wanted Chex Mix, so I decided to make them Chex Mix
7 hours
from
later, they
scratch.
get
And
to
it's
eat
like,
cereal.
What the fuck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, this article, like I'm telling you, it's scathing. So right under the title, it says Hannah Nealman, known to her 9 million followers as Ballerina Farms, milks cows, gives birth without pain relief, and breastfeeds at beauty pageants. Is this an empowering new model of womanhood or a hammer blow for feminism?
Is it a new model of womanhood? The trad white? Like, I feel like that's kind of, by definition, no. Maybe you could say we're regressing, which I guess is what he meant by hammer blow for feminism.
She.
Okay.
It was a woman who wrote this.
Oh, she. Got it.
Can you imagine a man writing this, please? That would have been an
No, I
immediate
just
no.
assume everything bad is a man.
So she starts off with talking about how Nealman was Mrs. American, I don't know, America? Mrs. Utah?
Mrs. American, but on her thing it says, oh yeah, it does say Mrs. I've never heard that. Isn't it always Miss?
I don't know what beauty pageant this is, and I don't know if it's the article that got this wrong. We're just going to say she won a beauty pageant.
Yeah, no, it says compete in Mrs. World. I've never...
Mrs. World. That's not even grammatically
I
correct.
was today years old.
Anyway, she mentions this not just to be like, oh, this is like something she did in her past. She mentions it because a very interesting fact that she explores is that Nealman was at a pageant 12 days postpartum for her last child in August of 2023.
Like, she was, like, competing in it?
Well, yeah, she competed in it, but she was invited back because she had won before. And, sorry, she has so many babies, it's hard for me to keep track. So this wasn't the latest baby. I think that was the one right before the latest baby.
I mean, I've never had a baby, but I'd imagine that 12 days postpartum, I would not be wanting to
Bitch,
be...
let me tell you. First of all, 12 days postpartum, like, I'm not even joking, my uterus was not back to normal. I looked pregnant still because it's just so bloated and it cannot, like, okay, it's the size of, what do they describe it as? Not a watermelon. I don't think that's inaccurate, but just imagine your uterus becomes that size. It's not something that just goes back all of a sudden. It takes a long time. So it's like the size of a dinner plate and then it needs to like turn into a fucking Tic Tac or something. I don't know the fucking measurements, but you know what I'm talking about. It takes longer than 12 days. She took a picture while she was like breastfeeding her child at this beauty pageant.
Okay.
And you know, she uses that as like a very like motivational thing. To be honest, I personally think to each their own. Like if you're the one that's postpartum and you feel fine and you want to do that and that makes you happy, go off, queen. She kind of used it in this article to be like, wow, like she was like freshly bleeding. And like, she literally said like she had just stopped bleeding right before the pageant, thankfully. And they're like, you know, was this a super slay empowering moment as a mother? Or is that like concerning, you know, something to look at and be like, hey, go lay down. It's okay.
Why
like
do you
don't
feel
have
that
to.
you have to do that?
Do you feel you have to do that? I think that there's a lot of
Yeah.
questions that can be asked. I think also this is one of those things where if you put all of these things together, causes some concern, you know, for Hannah and just like hoping that she's okay and that she's making all the decisions she wants to make and they're not being manipulated in any way.
Is the underlying narrative here that like people think her husband's like controlling
Holding
everything
her
she does?
hostage? Yes. No, I'm just kidding. But like that's
Got it.
what they're
Cool.
treating it
Got
as,
it. Yes.
honestly. Everyone is acting like he's holding her against her will. Now, what I will say is that the article describes Hannah as unable to speak. She says that not only is the youngest child on her chest the entire time, like the entire time for hours and hours and hours that the interviewer was there, but her children would come interrupt. She said they literally swung off of her hair, like got her hair and like swung off of it. And that if it wasn't the children interrupting and answering for Hannah, it was Daniel, her husband, answering for Hannah. And that she would look at him on how to answer a lot of things. In my eyes, that could be a lot of things. It could be she's uncomfortable. It could be that she doesn't feel comfortable in that type of scenario. She seems like from her talking videos, she doesn't seem super like outgoing particularly. She does seem kind of like, you know, shy maybe. I don't know her. But they note that and they say that multiple times because they start talking about like how they met and their first date. And most notably, she says that she didn't want to get married so quick. Remember how I said that Daniel asked her on a date and she made him wait like 6
And wanted
months?
to get married immediately. No, when you said that the kids were like swinging off her hair, literally I'm like thinking like 8 little children. Oh my God, like 8 little monkeys running around. No, one would be a lot.
Girl, I've got 2 and I'm stressed. and sweaty. So the reporter asked Hannah about how she felt about the whole trad wife label, because I think obviously she knows that she's been labeled that. And she says, I don't necessarily identify with it because we are traditional in the sense that it's a man and a woman. We have children, but I do feel like we're paving a lot of paths that haven't been paved before. So for me to have the label of a traditional woman, I'm kind of like, I don't know if I identify with that. Which, something that's really interesting to note, okay? It comes out in this article that they don't have a nanny. Daniel, don't fuck with that. It says, they have a cleaner, but no childcare. Neilman does all the food shopping, kids in tow, and cooks from scratch. They don't do ready meals. My daughter is screaming. You see, having children is hard. She could never have a podcast. I know that much.
I was going to say, so they're not sponsored by Factor. Despite the more traditional aspects of their relationship, Daniel is a hands-on father, taking the kids out to the farm and doing all the laundry. Honestly, that's more than some could say.
Oh, come on. I mean, you're right, but
8
Jesus.
kids, that's a lot of laundry. The children appear to look after each other quite well, too. I don't know if that's a good thing. There's so many, they seem to have become an almost self-sustaining entity. Still, Daniel says, Neilman sometimes gets so ill from exhaustion that she can't get out of bed for a week. That's concerning.
Right? Okay, they just casually drop that and like, moving on. It's like,
oh, yeah, sometimes she gets so ill from exhaustion, she can't move for a week. It's fine, though. The kids take care of themselves.
Unless she has some sort of like underlying autoimmune situation, that's
Literally.
not okay. That shouldn't happen. When I heard that she has 8 children, when I heard that they don't have childcare, the first thing that I thought was that the older kids have to take care of the younger ones. Like, that's always what happens. And I've said this, I don't know how many fucking times when we talk about huge families like this, and then you guys always chime in the comments when you're from families that have, you know, a lot of kids, you don't get the same attention
It's
from
always
the
the same
parent.
thing.
You can't. It's impossible.
Well, and we always say that it's like, at a certain point, like, why do you need more kids? Like, who is that for?
Mormonism.
God.
I think at a certain point it just becomes selfish. And I
For
understand that
sure.
it's, you know, I guess it's up to everyone. It's a super personal decision. But past a certain amount of children, you're doing it for yourself. You're not doing it for them. Because if you were doing it for them, you would understand you can't possibly, because you literally cannot clone yourself, be there for 8 children. There's not enough time in the day. And again, that's how you end up in a bed ill for a week, because it is not normal.
And not even just that, like, they don't have the attention to give to the kids, but then they also just don't have the attention to pay to them to take care of them. So then they do end up taking care of their siblings, and then they're just going to resent you anyway. Like, I feel like you rarely hear from someone that is from a huge family that's like, it was great, loved it. It was like, yes, they had fun because it's like everyone, there's so many people around, blah, blah. But the oldest ones usually are like
Resentful.
bitter and resentful.
Yeah. And listen to this one teensy part where the reporter talks about the atmosphere that they witnessed, because it says, finally we get back to the kitchen, sitting at the table surrounded by an ever-changing number of children. One is clattering a can opener next to my tape recorder. Another is pulling a whole roast chicken from the aga. What the fuck is an aga? Something British?
I don't know.
Or something rich people who are heirs to JetBlue have. I'm not sure.
Like, either way, we wouldn't know.
3 more gather around it with forks, eating it from the pan. Another spills a pail of milk over the floor. We have half an hour to talk before Neilman has to take some of them to a ballet class. It's like literally never a second. You will how do they even have time to procreate?
I'm overstimulated just hearing the description of it.
Right? Exactly. But then it does go into Hannah's career as a ballerina, which is why it became Ballerina Farm. And it says, our first few years of marriage were really hard. We sacrificed a lot, she says. But we did have this vision, this dream. And then Daniel interrupts. We still do. He says that she was saying that.
She's like, yeah, we do. Let me go to bed for a week.
And then the reporter kind of goes back to Hannah because she says that was like an issue. You know, Daniel kept speaking. And she asked Hannah what kind of sacrifices she made. And Hannah says, well, I gave up dance, which was hard. You give up a piece of yourself, and Daniel gave up his career ambitions, which
were what?
They don't specify, I don't think. And also,
what does he do?
Well, he also manages, because they have like a dairy farm now, and they like package meat from their farm. Like, they still have a business. Like, he's not a boss. You know what I mean?
So his main job though was the farm and not anything with JetBlue. He just has.
Oh, I don't think he see, maybe that's what he was doing before. But no, I'm not sure. Actually, I'm just guessing that. But no, now he's just on the farm like all the time, handling the farm things. Because okay, Ballerina Farm sells like sourdough stuff, right? You can buy like flour from her, starter, all this stuff to like make sourdough. But then also they ship you like meat from their farm. I'm pretty sure. So
okay, so they're like an operating meat and dairy farm.
Sure. Yes, we'll go with that. She has made that very successful, but he runs a lot of the stuff, from what I understand.
Oh, and this very much is painting the picture that it's like she does whatever he wants and like he's in control. It's like Daniel wanted to live in the great western wild, so they did. He wanted to farm, so they do. He likes date nights once a week, so they go.
And then she says they have a babysitter on those evenings. So he's okay with the babysitter on date nights, but not to help Hannah. I think the no babysitter thing is very weird. I know that parenting, again, personal decisions, and I don't like to step on toes where it's not necessary. But if you have that amount of money and you are gonna be home, like I understand not wanting to trust someone. Like when you're not there, it could be, you know, a million things could happen. You could
but if
be
it's
right
more
there.
of like an assistant type, yeah.
Anybody, literally. And they have like farm hands and people that they hire that come on the farm. Like just hire one more person.
Just not with the kids.
Exactly. Nobody helps with the kids. That's Hannah's job.
Yeah, it says he didn't want any nannies in the house, so there aren't any. The only space earmarked to be Nealman's own, a small barn she wanted to convert to a ballet studio, ended up becoming the kids' schoolroom. So she teaches them too?
So they are homeschooled. And they learn a Mormon Christian syllabus. And they learn it in the room that used to be her ballet studio.
Nope.
Right.
Nope.
I know.
She probably is a shell of a person. Absolutely not.
I'm going to show you some of the compilations that people have taken of moments that she looks honestly so tired. And I have noticed like she obviously is exhausted.
From her own content?
Yeah, from her own content. I mean, someone took a video of her and I don't know where it's from. She like is completely disassociated, you know, like staring off into space, like not there.
I would be.
Right. Yeah. So like people are taking moments like that and then like putting it next to her dancing. And so this narrative has been definitely like decided with the internet where it's like she is being held there in that farm against her will and she feels like there's no way out and she has all these kids now and she'll never be a ballerina and this is so sad. And they have literally like made interpretations like he calls it a ballerina farm instead of like having it be what did he call it? They say that Daniel named it Ballerina Farm instead of Ballerina's Farm because instead of being a product of a ballerina, it's where the ballerina is like kept. The Ballerina Farm, like a farm of ballerinas, and then like her daughters are the ballerinas.
I was gonna say that. Then they just keep pumping out kids that they're gonna...
like people are you know what I mean? That's the route the internet's going, where they're like, it's so sad, and then they do look at it as like they're being supportive, and I do understand that. However, it is kind of tough because like. Hannah's just like reading all of this and people are just like, are you okay? Like you would have been the best ballerina. Like in another universe, you're a ballerina right now, like dancing. And I'm like, guys, like this is so awkward because like, first of all, if she was in danger in my eyes, all of these comments and hate towards Daniel would put her in even more danger.
That's what I was just gonna say. I was like, yeah. And then if he's reading all of them too, and he's like, you stupid bitch, why'd you make me look bad?
Yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily what's happening. It doesn't seem, and there was no evidence from this one article to be an abusive situation. It just seems like someone
like
who
she has just accepted her fate.
Yes. And even I think there was a quote of basically the author was like, hey, are you gonna have more kids? And he said like,
what kind of question is that when she is 8? I'd be like,
I know. And then basically,
yes?
Jesus, their family minibus is a 15-seater. Okay, so this is where the part is. It says, is the aim to fill it? And they're referring to their family's minibus, which is a 15-seater. So they're at 9, 10. They're at 10 right now.
So they have 5 more to go.
Yes.
No.
And
she's like, yes, please, with nannies.
And Daniel replies, someday, yeah. Like he replies right away. And then Hannah responds, we are getting old and worn out, so we'll see. And it's definitely...
Oh my God.
She seems like she's done having kids.
Oh my God. Yeah, if my husband was like, yeah, definitely, I'd be like, they're coming out of your vagina.
Some other random quotes, because this article covers a lot of ground. And this author basically wanted to ask Hannah if they take birth control or like, do you plan pregnancies? Like, hey, why do you have 8 children and you know, you're gonna have more?
Valid question.
Yeah. And then she asks them if they plan pregnancies and Daniel says no. And then Hannah says, when he says no, like what he means by that, it's very much a matter of prayer for me. I'm like, God, is it time to bring another one to earth? And I've never been told no. To which I say, as someone who is particularly extremely fertile, I will have 17,000 children, right? I would be pregnant I can't be pregnant every month. I would be pregnant every 9 months, 10 months. I don't know how the science works. That is insane. Like, I understand. I'm not coming for anyone's religion. That's just a really stupid plan. Really stupid plan because if you're fertile, he's going to say yes every time. This conversation is so weird. Because Daniel says, but for whatever reason, it's exactly 9 months after a baby that she's ready for the next one. And then Hannah says, it's definitely a matter of prayer. And he responds, it's a matter of prayer, but somehow it's exactly 9 months. Like, It's just so, the vibes
So he's
are
saying
weird.
that there's like a 9-month break in between.
That once the baby becomes 9 months old, she gets baby fever, and then, like, I don't know, it's just a weird vibe to the conversation. And it says that they have very strong Mormon beliefs and that they don't really mention that online. I agree. I haven't heard that, but
I feel like a lot of the time Mormons don't necessarily advertise it. You just know.
But the author goes on to explain how Mormons do have very strong opinions against abortion and same-sex couples and all that stuff. So they asked Nealman if she agrees with the stance on abortion by the Mormons. And then Daniel says, the church is a lot more lenient than a lot of states in the U.S. The church is against, I'm going to get an abortion because I'm not happy I'm pregnant. We see the joy of having kids.
Okay.
Is the joy, well, being ill in the bed for a week? Like, I'm just wondering what your idea of joy is, because I know it's different for everyone.
No, but I think the way he's pointing it out is like they don't see it, like the church doesn't see it as like, oh, you made a mistake and you don't want to be pregnant. Like, sure, get an abortion. It's like if you did for like medical reasons or something.
You mean the
allow
slippery
it.
slope of like prove you were SA'd so that I can say that you getting an abortion is just like it.
Yes, but I like the crazy part is like he's right that is probably more like they are.
Oh, nowadays,
there probably
yeah.
are more exceptions in the
For
church
sure.
than there are legally.
But after he says we see the joy of having kids, Hannah chimes in and says, and the sanctity of life, which is like,
Don't get abortion.
it's not even that, like, everybody, whatever, I'm not here to have a super controversial talk and like convert people's religion, but the wording, when you start talking like that, I smell the Handmaid's Tale. Like, it's just, it scares me. And like, the sanctity of life. I'm like, oh.
Well, and also, like, what about
I
your
smell my rights
sanctity of
being
life?
taken away.
Right?
Oh my God. I can't with them. Daniel says, absolutely. And that's probably why the church tells you don't have sexual relations. Get married.
Or get
And then
married
just-
so then you can have sexual relations.
Yeah, and then just have a trillion fucking kids. Like, I don't understand that logic. Because if not, you might have a kid that you regret having, and all of a sudden you get an abortion, and that's not good. Daniel, I don't know if you know this. A lot of people who are married regret having kids. I don't know if you
Yeah, I
got
was
the
gonna say,
notice.
I don't think the marriage certificate really changes everything. Also, question that's like not really related but related. What? How do they all afford it?
Afford what?
They're having so many kids. It feels like Mormons always have a ton of kids, and they're always just like
Well off?
fine.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like generational wealth maybe could be the answer to that.
Maybe,
I mean,
yeah.
this case is generational
Like,
wealth.
I couldn't
so-
afford to have 8 kids.
I know.
I mean, I get that he also was JetBlue, so this is a different scenario, but
I'm actually happy that we stumbled across this part because I know I read this, but I didn't really, I don't know, I didn't take note of this part. And people are showing this part less and a lot more like her wanting to be a ballerina and acting like she doesn't want this life at all. So Hannah says, you need Jesus in response to the people that regret pregnancies and all of a sudden have an abortion. Like once Daniel says that that's a sinful act, she responds, you need Jesus, which... You know, it's showing a lot more of her beliefs, honestly, because again, people are painting her as this like trapped ballerina. Literally, they're like, she's the ballerina in the music box on your shelf. And it's like,
which like maybe she is, but she drank the Kool-Aid and is like fully on board with it.
exactly.
That's the vibe I've gotten so far, is that she maybe is a bit defeated and like has kind of just accepted that like this is the life she chose.
Right,
but that like this is the life she chose. Another thing is like with Mormon families, and they usually don't get divorced and they have all these kids. If they weren't Mormon, like would they stay together or would they get a divorce like so many other people? Like it feels like they all just stay together, but like are they happy?
I don't know. It's difficult for me, especially because I know my mom with like being in the church when she had me and my brother, and that being a reason why she stayed a little bit longer than she should have with my dad, because she just didn't like, it was seen as a horrible thing.
It was just like, it's not an option.
Yeah, like you lose that, you lose your church, you lose your community. I think that that's what a lot of them experience in a larger way when it's this ingrained. Like if he comes from a Mormon family and if she does as well, which I'm not exactly sure if she does, I know he does for sure, then that could be losing your family. Like, you know, it's just a lot riding on you holding your marriage together. And I'm not saying they don't love each other. I will show some examples that wouldn't make me happy if I was married to this person. I think I would cry.
But yeah, but it's more about like upholding the expectations of your community and like settling your like changing your life expectations to meet those. So it's like you aren't dreaming of this other life.
Yes.
And like trying to leave your marriage because you don't think that's even an option.
Yeah. So I want to show you the egg apron video, because that's one of the main things people are pissed about.
Okay, that's my birthday present from Daniel. Hoping they're tickets to Greece.
Where's it from?
I don't know, the boys took it off.
I took it off.
It's from Ukraine.
So, plane tickets? Ooh, a hat I can wear in Greece.
It's not a hat.
It's not.
Oh, my egg apron!
Eggs in it.
Great, they didn't gather eggs.
So
Yeah,
cute. It's really cute. It's a
Yeah.
cute one.
Yeah, that's the best.
I think she's already gathered enough eggs to have your children. Please, sir. Enough. I mean, honestly, that is such a cringe video. I don't care who they really are as people. Why did that make it online? Why?
That almost felt like it was a passive aggressive move by him, that he was like forcing her to upload it, to be like, nope, you're gonna tell everyone you're a wife. You're gonna fucking like
Go
it.
tell everyone you gather our eggs, wench. Like, it's just like very, it's very
Yeah,
weird.
literally, though.
I mean, there's a
Like, kind
million
of
different
demeaning.
things to note here, but the biggest is like, why the fuck didn't you wrap it? I'm sorry, that would have pissed me off. So my husband sucks at
And
wrapping.
why did it come from the Ukraine?
I mean, whatever, like, go off, I guess. But like,
It just feels like a really random, like it was really packed in there.
I guess he's just trying to be like, you see what I got you? It's from the Ukraine. He didn't even bother to wrap it. That is insane to me. Anyway, people got really pissed about the fucking egg apron. Okay? They're like, oh my God, wait, I cut it off too soon. It gets better.
You're welcome.
Thanks, honey.
Not for long.
Before she says
did he
thank
say?
you, he says, you're welcome. Like, he's
What did he say right after that though?
had it for a long time. Just that he like was holding on to it.
And so, but you didn't wrap it.
Oh, no. Didn't have the time for that. Just had time to lollygag around. Not the people checking the prices of this and it only being like $15 to $60 for the egg apron.
Okay, wait. Well, no, but that's also, I'm like, he acts like, ooh, from the Ukraine. I'm like, why? Did they not have any locally? I'm surprised you didn't make her fucking knit it herself. Reading the sentence about not being able to get out of bed for a week, it was like, whoa.
I
that
know.
guy.
That one people got really...
Why did we just drop that like it was normal?
Yeah, people got really obviously concerned with that one. But then also, she had a quote about her being a ballerina and she's like kind of reminiscing on it. And of course, the article, it just puts it in just the right moment where it definitely seems like she's almost wishing she was still doing that. But all she said was like, I would have been a great ballerina. Like, you know, I really was great. You know what I mean? I was great at what I did, type of thing. And obviously, you know, I look at my mom, for instance. My mom wanted to be a singer. My dad wanted to be an actor. I don't know why he thought he could do that, but my mom's a good singer. But, you know, I think a lot of parents do give up dreams to be parents.
sure.
And I think that it's not always black and white. Just because you remember something fondly in your life before your children doesn't necessarily mean that you regret having your children. It just means you remember that and it makes you feel happiness and also sadness and you wonder what could have been, but you would never change it. And
That's what I
there's
was
a
gonna
lot
say.
of different feelings.
It's human nature to always be like, what if? So absolutely. And especially with a career like being a ballerina, like people that are not good at dancing don't become like people that are ballerinas at Juilliard. So
Oh, no,
that
and
is
she-
something that not very many people can do. So she is someone that can recognize that she was really good at it. And it's like, what if I had pursued that instead? But I'm sure that doesn't mean like, fuck all these kids or like,
Now,
I'm unhappy constantly. Although it does seem like she's exhausted.
it does. And, you know, there are really concerning quotes from Daniel where he says that, you know, like his parents actually divorced, ironically, because that's a big no-no. But he says, like, growing up, like, men did this and women did that, and that's what he wanted. And, you know, he's kind of adapted in terms of, like, she is basically the face of Ballerina Farm and why it sells it all. But how much has he really adapted? And I think people are interpreting that to him pushing his traditional values, even though, like I said, I don't think it's as cut and dry as that because she has a lot of quotes being very traditional herself. How much of that is her real beliefs and how much is it that she's just kind of adapted to that lifestyle? I don't know. She wanted to move to fucking New York. Is there anywhere less Mormon than that? Like,
it seems like she has certain things that don't really fit the mold of like traditional Mormon wife. But I also think it's interesting just with the trad wife thing in general, that the ones that are huge on TikTok, I'm like, how much money are they bringing in with
A
this
lot.
content?
A
Like,
lot.
you are
Nara Smith is
working. That isn't like,
banking.
oh, I'm just a stay-at-home mom. No, you're not, because you're also working. Like, what do you mean?
Look at some of these comments that people are leaving on her content that she's now posting.
This content makes me sad now. Hannah, I sincerely hope you're okay, that you get plenty of rest and you time. I read the article. Oh my God, it's literally acting like it was like her saying she was dead. Please use your voice. Please get a nanny. Please hire a shopper. Please get some rest. Sending love and praying for you. I hope one day you get the chance to dance again. Yeah, no, these are not helping.
I'm sending you a compilation of Hannah that we can watch because it's very similar to what's being posted. People are posting with the saddest songs, also with the song that's like, you make me do too much labor, 24/7 baby machine. You know that song?
Fuck. No, I don't. But she's real. That, like, I get that people do think that they're helping or they're like championing for her, but it's like, she can see these.
So we can't play the audio because of copyright, but it's the first one is like the dissociation stare. I've definitely had that stare once or twice in my life. I'll say that much. But yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she just seems
Oh, she
exhausted.
just looks, yeah.
And then she has a baby on her, of course. And then it's just her listening to Daniel speak. And she's just kind of sitting there.
Is she listening?
Well, that's the thing. People are painting a picture, which there's other people that showed other parts of this interview. And she talks about how she loves her life. And it's difficult. It's not as cut and dry as people are making it out to be. And I'm saying that as someone who this life, and I know this is someone's actual human life, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful, is my nightmare. Like, genuinely, like, this is not something I would like to do.
No.
And there's a lot of videos of like her doing ballet and like dancing with Daniel and like him, you know what? I'm not going to sit here and pretend to know everything about her and her life. I feel like they definitely have more. Oh my God, my daughter is literally screaming. I'm telling you, kids, they're hard.
Times 8. Like, I truly can't imagine.
I'm telling you, I have two, and it is difficult to do anything. I don't know what she's freaking out about. It could be anything. And then if you have 8, if it's not one, it's definitely the other. Like, there is no peace in that house, I guarantee you. But what I will say is, in my personal belief, if you have the funds and you are refusing out of some weird sense of pride to not get help, and that causes you to be a shell of yourself, I think that's stupid. I think that's stupid. And I think that if that's his decision, he's a dick. And I think that at the very least, especially if they plan on having more kids, they should absolutely hire help. There is no like shame in that. Have them there with you. It doesn't have to be a 24/7 thing.
Exactly. Whether it's her or him, it's like, don't be a hero or don't make her be a hero. Like, no, it is not.
You don't get a fucking award
you
for
should be able to do
killing
that because
yourself.
you're just exactly.
It's just, it's ridiculous. And then also, oh my God, there was so much to this article.
It would benefit everyone.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing, is that I've said this so many times. When you take care of yourself, you're a better parent, you're a better spouse. You cannot split yourself a million ways and then expect each piece to be like if you were whole. That's not how it works.
Exactly.
You need to fill your cup first, and then you can help people. Put on the fucking oxygen mask, and like it literally just doesn't work.
Because you can do things like, if you're so tired that you can barely function, then how the hell is she going to do she would have been able to do the things that she's doing faster and better than she can when she's like literally falling asleep. And
yes,
having to stay in bed for a week is insane.
Well then, and when I read that, I'm like, is she allowed to stay in bed for a week? Do you do all the cooking and taking care of the kids?
Then what?
Daniel?
Then where are the kids?
Yeah. But then also there was so much to this article, and I know we didn't touch on every single bit, but basically they're very traditional, they're very Mormon, and have a shit ton of kids, and people don't like Daniel. That's what you need to know, basically the highlights. But
that's what I gathered.
One other important piece that I just remembered is that she talks about birth and how she had a bunch of home births, except for this one time, it could have been 2, but I'm pretty sure it was 1, that she went and gave birth at a hospital. And that one time Daniel couldn't make it because he was doing something for work. And that was the one time during birth that she got an epidural, and she said it was magical. And it's like, you don't get
like,
a
the
fucking
vacation I've been dreaming of.
Well, that's the thing, is like, did he not let you, or does he discourage you from things like that? Like,
For
that's
sure,
where
it sounds
people are just like,
I mean,
"Ooh."
again, Yeah, like that's our assumptions, but based on everything we've seen, it sounds like absolutely. It's pretty convenient that the one time he wouldn't be
He
around, that she
wanted
would be
this
allowed to
little
do
like
it.
homemaker life, homesteading life, and had she not met him, what would her life
She would
look
have made
like?
some compromises.
And I get why people are drawing the conclusions that they are, but at the same time, that is the life that she has. And I think that we have to treat it as a human being who has made decisions. Like, haven't you ever loved someone and you really didn't love the decisions they made, or you feel sad for them in some ways because you're like, damn, they could have been this, they could have been that. There is a certain level of respect when you genuinely care about another human being, where it's not like, oh, what the fuck? Like, you're a little ballerina in a box on someone's shelf. Like, I don't know.
Well, and then also, like, what do you think you're accomplishing? Like, or do you think you're like offering her support?
Yes, I've seen comments echoing like, I hope she sees this, and I hope that she knows that women are here for her and that we want her to be the woman that she can be.
But also, that's the thing. It's like, is she suddenly gonna like get this
She
newfound
just kicks her children and
confidence and like
"Bye!"
leave her family? Yeah, like it doesn't seem like something's gonna change. So I get that while collectively it might be nice to see that women are like, we believe in you, doing it in a way that's like pretending like she's this like helpless
It's
prisoner
almost
in her own
counterproductive
home.
because you want her to be an empowered woman, and then you're kind of making her seem like
Telling
this
her that she's
damsel in
not.
distress that can't get out
Yeah.
without your help or your support. But I do
Exactly,
understand the
yeah.
sentiment. However, it is my belief that, first of all, obviously she's not, like, I think her years of being a ballerina, like, you literally have to do it before you're 30. So maybe she was not going to be a professional ballerina, but there is always time in life. I think that if that's something that makes her happy, and she still does dance, like, on the farm.
And not in her own studio because it's the kids' school.
Yeah, like things like that are sad. But as a mother, those are very real things as well. Like, you do give up spaces and pieces of yourself in order to have your kids be comfortable. And it's almost like a no-brainer. It doesn't mean that Daniel was like, listen, you little bitch, you're not going to dance anymore, okay? And if you want to dance, you do it when you're chained in the basement. It's like, Jesus, people. Like, I think she could dance if she wants to. Obviously, I don't think she has a ton of time to be a ballerina on the side. She has 8 fucking kids. I don't think she has enough time to shit.
Well, and also to do that professionally, one, you just said, like, the time frame on that is not long. Like, they're pretty much retiring people before they're 30. So that, coupled with also how much dedication is required, like, that has to be your main focus.
Yes.
So a lot of people that are really good at something like that don't even want to do it anymore if it can't be something they're dedicating their time to, because then they can't be the dancer they always wanted.
I think that that's why a lot of people were upset with Daniel, because when they described that she did not want to get married and he kind of pressured her into doing that and having kids, probably because he just wanted to have sex because that's the Mormon way, people got upset with him as like, you fucked up her dream. You know what I mean? Because she wanted to have kids maybe, but down the road, and you forced her to get married.
That at least is a little more reasonable of an assumption, I think, to be like, that was what changed everything.
Yeah.
Not that like she has these kids so she can't do this, or like she's being held against her will. It's like, no, she made that decision then, and then that did very much shape the trajectory of her career and stuff. But
yeah, all in all, it's a weird situation, but I think that Hannah Nealman is where Hannah Nealman wants to be. And I think that feminism, to me, is just like women being who they fucking want to be. And if this is who she wants to be, I don't have to want to be it to be like, okay, go off, queen. Nor do I have to consume her, you know, her content. I wish her well. I do hope that she wakes up and gets help at the very least. You need help. And I think it's absolutely insane, like fucking insane, that she has no help and teaches the kids.
literally, when I found out she was homeschooling them too, I'm
Bitch,
like,
she also makes her own
no,
mozzarella
no.
cheese. Like, how do you find the fucking time? And I think it's unrealistic. And I do think promoting that is a little dangerous, because it's like, that's not attainable. Even if you're the billionaire heir of JetBlue,
You
that's
don't
not
have to
attainable.
do it all.
You don't.
And also, like, that's the whole point. Like, isn't that why you want money? To be able to, like,
That's why I want
to
money.
make your life more convenient? Like, I don't understand. What are you using it for then?
And the kids will not mind. They'll be fine.
They probably won't notice.
Yeah, but basically that's why people think they need to go to the Ballerina Farm and kidnap Hannah Nealman and save her from her own life. And honestly,
Okay, it's a bit drastic.
no,
but
I do think that she's in a
I get the
tricky
sentiment.
situation. We get the sentiment, but let's slow down, queens and kings who are trying to save her.
Yeah.
It's a lot.
I mean, this is going to be rich coming from someone that has a podcast where they just give opinions on people's lives and decisions.
Good point,
But
queen.
The comments on TikTok, like, I can't fathom going on someone's TikTok and leaving comments like that. I might say them on this podcast, but I would not leave the comments on TikTok.
They have made compilations of like her slow dancing as a ballerina and then like coupling it in, and then she has that dissociated stare and then she's crying. I don't know where all of those different things are
people
from.
need to be reminded that, like, that is someone real life
Yeah.
that you're
Yeah.
turning into a movie right now for your own, like, whether you think it's because you're supporting them or not, it's for your own entertainment. Don't get me wrong. Love, like, the Taylor Travis compilations that people make, but I don't think those are hurting anyone. I think, if anything, that Taylor and Travis probably enjoy those. And also to take moments that it's like, look at her disassociating. Things get caught on camera that do not represent or reflect in a person's
I'm sorry. It's a
entire
no-brainer.
being.
She's tired. There's no way she cannot be tired. And I think that, again, having 8 children, I personally think that's pretty selfish. I don't think that it's right to have that many kids and try to stretch yourself that thin. She's tired. Like, surprise. But at the same time, when we come on here and talk about people's like marriages and stuff or relationships, it's because one of the people did something really bad, whether it's abuse or whether it's cheating or whether it's something
no one
like
did
that.
anything wrong. This is all based off assumptions. Could you imagine, like, even if you just had like a not like super close friend, but even actually a relatively close friend that their husband was kind of a dick sometimes and you didn't really like them.
Yeah.
The things people say in comments, I'm like, I wouldn't say that to someone I know.
Wait, you wouldn't
like,
edit together compilations with sad music of your loved ones? You know, what else is she doing other than just like definitely painting a picture of motherhood that to me isn't realistic, but I know that. So like I see it and I'm like, okay, bullshit. Like, let me see the real cuts of your children, like taking your phone and putting shit on it. Like, I want to see the real stuff.
And just at the end of the day, it's like she isn't asking for help. And like,
That's the
there's
ticket.
certain situations where I think that, yes, maybe it's time to intervene if there's serious situations going on, but this doesn't seem like she's not actually being held captive.
All in all, I'm just like, Hannah, if you ever need help, queen, let us know. The internet and all the compilation makers are
I'd
on
love
standby.
to come to Utah. It's really pretty there.
Yeah, but that's the drama that everyone's been tagging me in. So now you know what's going on with Ballerina Farms.
Hey girlies, there's an update. So after the article came out and a little time had passed and the reactions from everyone had continued to grow, Hannah decided to post this video to their TikTok.
A couple of weeks ago, we had a reporter come into our home to learn more about our family and business. We thought the interview went really well, very similar to the dozens of interviews we had done in recent memory. We were taken back, however, when we saw the printed article, which shocked us and shocked the world by being an attack on our family and my marriage, portraying me as oppressed, with my husband being the culprit. This couldn't be further from the truth. Nothing we said in the interview implied this conclusion, which leads me to believe the angle taken was predetermined. For Daniel and I, our priority in life is God and family. Everything else comes second. The greatest day of my life was when Daniel and I were married 13 years ago. Together we have built a business from scratch. We've brought 8 children into this world and have prioritized our marriage all along the way. We are co-parents, co-CEOs, co-diaper changers, kitchen cleaners, and decision makers. We are one. And I love him more today than I did 13 years ago. We have many dreams still to accomplish. We aren't done having babies. We are excited for our new farm store to open, and I can't wait to see what the future holds for the rest of it. But for now, I'm doing what I love most, being a mother, wife, a businesswoman, a farmer, a lover of Jesus, and making meals from scratch.
And while I'm sure that Hannah and Daniel hoped that this video would kind of quell the flames of all the conversation going on around, their marriage and their life, well, let's just say based on the comment section, I don't think it had that desired effect. I'll read a few that reflect the overwhelming sentiment throughout the comments. Nice writing, Daniel. You should start writing a book. Take her to Greece. It sounds like Daniel wrote the script. Someone says, OMG, we are one. He wrote it. Someone said, why does it sound like she's reading a paragraph? Other person said, okay, Daniel, start writing your own book. The script was really great. And then there's a lot of comments about Greece. Someone says that it wasn't even the article that convinced me. It was the video of the light leaving her eyes with the egg apron and his condescending "you're welcome" at the end. There are a few people supporting her, but a lot of comments about Greece. So like, you're not going to Greece, but Greece, not an apron. It looks actually like a pretty even mix of people saying like, I'm glad you spoke out, and then other people being like, what about Greece? So mixed reactions. After that, she also went on to post a carousel of photos that then the caption reads, every day I share a glimpse into our rural farm and family life here in the mountains of northern Utah. I wear many hats: mom, wife, cook, business owner, content creator, lover of God, and all things butter. Same girl. For longtime followers and those just joining the journey, I wanted to take the opportunity to tell you our story in my own words. My time before marriage, before kids, before I even dreamt of creating Ballerina Farm. Read the full story, link in bio, and it links to their website where she has a much longer version. But speaking of things that are long, we have also another article from the author of the original article. She has decided to post a follow-up article. This one is titled, My Day with the Trad Wife Queen and What It Taught Me. The secondary headline says, an interview published last weekend with internet star Hannah Nealman at her Utah home, Ballerina Farm, has sparked a global social media debate. Our writer, Megan Agnew, revisits her time with the mother of 8. She basically acknowledges that there was quite a bit of backlash/debate over her previous piece, but she doesn't offer a full apology, and instead she basically tries to clarify her intentions and explain her perspective on Hannah Nealman's life. She doesn't really double down and say Hannah's straight up oppressed, but she also doesn't really back away from it either. And the tone overall is just kind of her attempt to explain and justify her stance rather than issue an apology, which again, it did not seem like Hannah was too pleased. So interesting that she even did a follow-up, honestly. But anyway, I think that's it. And yeah, I have nothing else to say. Bye.
And let us know what you think below. I feel like this is a polarizing topic and people are going to be like either one way or another. To me, I'm nowhere.
I mean, I didn't know
guess.
anything about it going into it, and I definitely thought you were going to tell me it was like a cult or something.
Oh, really? Interesting. I mean, it could be. They have enough kids to start one, I think.
Not me picturing like them literally farming ballerinas, and there's just like...
I'm telling you, that's what people's theory is. But anyway, moving on to Chelsea King versus King Jewelers, because, this is, I don't want to say I told you so. Actually, I can't say that because I never told anyone.
It was like, you love saying I told you so.
I
What
do,
are you talking
I do,
about?
you're right. No, but I actually can't say that because I didn't say I told you so, but it's in my brain. Basically, what I'm trying to say is my vibes were correct
thought
again.
it.
Yeah, I thought it.
Got it. I wish I could tell them about my vibes that were proven correct recently.
Oh, no, we can't say those vibes. Not yet.
No, we can't.
We have to
can't.
hold
But
on
guys,
to that one.
One day we might be able to reveal, but there was something that I just stumbled upon
Mm-hmm.
recently from 2020, and I clocked someone's ass far before we realized, and
Turned out to be a
I
snake.
want to tell you, but I can't. Anyway, sorry, move on.
So there are a lot of TikToks on this, a lot of updates, but basically I want to show you Chelsea's first TikTok because this went viral and caused a whole mess.
Oh yeah, I've seen this come up on my For You page, but I
You
didn't
remember
watch
her
it.
curtain bangs? I'm serious. Is that how you remember her?
No, honestly, I just remember seeing the word heirloom.
Oh, okay. Because she has like real curtainy bangs. I'm not even like trying to diss her, but like
Yeah, no.
every time I saw her hair, I was like, oh, it's the girl who lost her ring.
Very
Sabrina
It gives
Carpenter?
like very 70s
Oh,
vibes.
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Or Sabrina Carpenter, yeah.
Okay. So I'm not going to interrupt her. Just let her explain how her heirloom got lost.
Okay.
King Jewelers lost my 4th generation family heirloom engagement ring and my boyfriend's $10,000 crystal and is refusing to pay us. Now they are a massive company with several locations. They might be a corporation and they know that I am just a little indie musician and my boyfriend is a tennis player, so they think that they can get away with not paying us. But I'm bringing it to TikTok and hoping that you guys can do your magic and get the word out there so that we can get our money and get engaged. I take that back. We can get engaged without the ring. I'd be happy with a ring pop. I'm making this video because I believe I owe it to all the badass women in my family who wore that ring before me. So here's how the story starts. My grandma's mom wore that engagement ring, passed it to my grandma. My grandma passed it to my aunt. My aunt passed away when I was 16 and she was like a mother to me, basically raised me, and that was the only thing she left me in her will that didn't get sold. I've been looking forward to wearing this as an engagement ring for my entire life. Now let's jump into the $10,000 gemstone. If you've been following me for a long time, you know I'm a little bit of a woo-woo hippie, and so is my boyfriend. We spent about a year working with these shamans to help us heal and unblock our chakras. They did an amazing job. Now my partner Dawson and I have done several past life regressions together, and I can get into that in a different video if you want. But while we were working with these shamans, we
see your
purchased
face.
this $10,000 tanzanite gemstone. It's like the biggest tanzanite I've ever seen, straight from the mines in Tanzania. Raw tanzanite, and the shamans used this crystal to heal him
zoom-ins
and
are a little
cut some
abrupt.
ties from his past life. Specific tie was with this evil man that unalived him.
Okay,
So
wait,
ever
wait,
since
pause,
we did
pause. I just want to make sure you grasped it.
Yeah, wait.
Yes.
Healing someone that unalived him in a past life.
Yes.
That-
The one before this
That was
life.
what this crystal was used.
Yeah. The one that
Got
cannot
it.
be confirmed
Okay.
or denied,
So,
so
like,
you can
when he
just
was
kind
not
of throw
alive.
things out there and just be
Yeah.
like, this is the guy
Cool.
I'm healing you from.
Got it. So this Tanzanite healed him from this person that we don't know, that no one knows, because we don't even know if they were real. And got it.
And you
Okay.
saw how big the Tanzanite is, right? Did you see her hand gesture when she was describing the Tanzanite? I believe the actual hand gesture was this.
Oh no. So like
$10,000.
like a large grapefruit.
Yeah, just about.
Also, it's so not important, but like family heirlooms with engagement rings. Does the fiance just get to be like, oh, I lucked out, I don't have to get one now? Like,
Well,
that's like
so this particular one, we'll see the pictures of it, is not anything crazy. Like, it's literally a halo. So it has no like gemstone per se. The Tanzanite, the giant grapefruit Tanzanite, that was gonna be the stone in the middle. So he kind of just had like the ring part, not necessarily the big
so
diamond.
he was adding his part to it as well.
Exactly,
Okay, got
yes.
The center of my family heirloom as our engagement ring. And then we would use the rest of the Tanzanite to make earrings and rings for our eventual kids that we would have, so that we could all kind of have matching Tanzanite rings. So Dawson dropped off the ring and the gemstone in April to get the gemstone set in the center of my family heirloom. And I guess in May, both got stolen. But they did not tell us until July 11th. When they finally told us in July, it was because Dawson had called them 3 times in one day. He'd called them all week with no response, no updates. And then he called them 3 times in one day. And the main lady, I think her name is Michelle. I think it's Michelle. Her assistant was the one who called Dawson back to tell him, we don't know how to tell you this, but we lost your ring in May and the gemstone. So Dawson...
She might get to this, but like I have to imagine a jeweler has a good insurance policy.
Oh, she gets to it.
Then again, I mean, how are we going to recover the Tanzanite that
You
saved
can't.
him
It's
from the evil?
Unless you get another
Yeah.
one and gotta save her from some other guy.
Meeting with David King, the owner of King Jewelers in Nashville. And he doesn't show up to the meeting. The next day, he ends up calling Dawson, and I happened to be in the car while they were talking. This man was awful. You could tell he has grown up in a very privileged situation and did not take accountability for a single thing. We asked him to compensate us for the ring and the gemstone so that we could take our business elsewhere because, of course, we don't trust working with a company that did not tell us for 2 months that they lost our engagement ring and gemstone, both of which were priceless and irreplaceable. He said he wouldn't compensate us because he sent the ring and the Tanzanite off to a separate company to get it cut and set in the center, and when they sent it back, they did not insure the package. How does that happen? Couldn't tell you. You're a jewelry company. And the police report was so suspicious. In the police report, it said that the FedEx driver went in to deliver a package, and when he got back, only 1 package had been stolen, and it was our ring. 1 package. Anyways, David said that because it was uninsured, he would not pay us. Dawson told him that if he did not pay us, we were going to leave them a Google review, leave them a review on the Better Business
Not
Bureau.
the Google review.
And
Yeah, I
that
was
I
like,
might even come
ooh,
to
you
TikTok
really showed
about it.
them.
And he said if we did that, he would call it slander. So we went to the Better Business Bureau, we left a review, and he basically said that we were blackmailing him. All we want is to get our money back for the ring and gemstone so that we can get an engagement ring. I will never get to wear the ring that my grandma, her mom, and my aunt wore. So whatever ring we end up making better be freaking badass. Something to honor them. David basically said that we should have had personal insurance on the ring and the gemstone, which is just BS, to be quite honest. When you leave your ring and gemstone or jewelry or watches with King Jewelers, they're supposed to have insurance on it because it's in their care, it's in their hands at that point. So he should have had insurance. But yes, he said if we said a word about this online, he would call it slander. So I'm saying a word about this online and y'all know the truth. I would really appreciate if you could comment, share this, spread the word, like this, just so that we can get the traction we need. Again, I'm just a little indie musician and he is a tennis player. So we really need this to take off so that we can do something about it. Also, do not work with King Jewelers in Nashville. This is not the first story that I've heard about them messing something major up. They did something similar to a friend of mine, and they're just kind of shady for that. Comment the diamond emoji in the comments to just keep this going and get us the traction we need. I really appreciate you.
Thoughts,
Okay.
Lily? Your
honestly-
face is so tiny on my screen. I'm trying to look at what your reaction is. I'm like, is she Feeling the vibes?
I mean, don't get me wrong. I think it's absolute bullshit that a jeweler wouldn't have insurance for all of the different steps that they're going through. Like, what do you mean the package wasn't insured? Why would you work with a company? Like,
So it wasn't insured from the company back to King Jewelers. I think it was insured in all possessions of King Jewelers and when they shipped it, but then when it got shipped back, it didn't get shipped with insurance, I believe.
if that's a third party that they're not in communication with, it's like, yeah, I guess they could go hunt them down and try and get them to pay. But it feels like King Jewelers should accept that liability as well.
Interesting. Any other thoughts?
That separately, I do think it's a little weird that you wouldn't have it insured on your own.
Any other thoughts?
Okay, well, and also then my like first thought when she was saying that last part is now this kind of does feel like not blackmail, but like
I think what you're trying to say is you smell it. You smell a cloud goblin when you see it. And I think
there's something weird.
there's something weird.
something weird.
Okay, when I first saw this, couple things stood out, and I'm not lying. Okay, I'm not lying. This was my reaction. I did not like immediately support her like everyone did. And when I say everyone supported her, this has 552,000 likes as of right now. She got so much support. She got so many jewelry companies reaching out to her being like, we'll do it for free.
See, that's the thing, because I was like, what is she hoping to gain by this video?
Well, she
like,
says it, traction. She
wording
wants
at the-
traction.
Traction for what?
For clout,
though?
for her little indie music.
Exactly. That's the thing. I'm like, because is it traction to like try and get the company to feel bad and make the hate stop that they're getting? So then like, because honestly, my first thought there was like, at one point that's going to be like illegal. Like you're not going to be able to make TikToks to like shame a company into giving you what you want.
Right.
If there are legal things that they did wrong, then you should sue them. The fact that she dwelled on like, we need traction. We need this. You need to comment this. It gave me weird vibes.
Okay, same. That and also the shaman things. I have nothing against shamans. You know, I know that there's a lot of sacred rituals and stuff that I've seen that are very cool. I don't know if the one she went to was legit or not, but she sounds a little interesting.
It was definitely an eccentric addition to the story.
Yeah, but notably, when I watched this, I don't know shit about jewelry and I don't know shit about tanzanite, okay? Those are the two things I'm coming into this with. I don't know anything
same.
about that. So when she said $10,000 tanzanite, all I know is like, okay, that's a gem. I didn't even know what color it was. It's blue. But I also know that jewelry is expensive. So I was like, $10,000, that sounds about right. So she has done a total of, I believe, 8 videos by now, which is
Jesus
insane.
Christ.
Yeah,
what
she
could
was
you
ready.
possibly have to say for 8 videos?
In the first video, she mentioned that what she wanted was her money back because since she can't obviously get the ring back, she wanted money to be able to replace her ring. She didn't specify an amount.
I do have to ask, though, what is the compensation she's asking for since it is irreplaceable because of this shaman aspect?
Oh, we find out right now because she claims that King Jewelers did not want to compensate her for what she was asking, but that they did offer to replace the ring and like do a custom ring for her with like new tanzanite and a new halo. Let's actually click on this video because she says a few interesting bits, but we're not going to watch all of them.
Thank you so much for the support with King Jewelers stuff, and thank you for defending me
For the
and
traction.
having my back online. I really appreciate it. And so does my grandma. That's
Okay.
Nana. She wore the ring before me. In this photo, she was not yet engaged, but she's badass. It's come to my attention that some people have started leaving Google reviews at different King Jewelers, including one in Cohasset, Massachusetts. And it's been tanking other companies with the same name. My King Jewelers is in Nashville, so if you've left a Google review at the King Jewelers in Massachusetts, please, I'm asking you to delete that Google review. That's a beautiful family-owned company.
You guys are
that's been
harassing the wrong one. Harass the one in Nashville.
Literally, though, and that goes back to me saying, like, what is she really asking people to do? Like,
It's interesting that you
it's a
noticed
difference
that
between
though.
telling people and like making it known that like you had a bad experience somewhere, and it's another to be like, let's get this going so I can get what I want.
I don't
And
think
it's
she
like, well,
realizes
are
how
you gonna get
incriminating
that?
this is. She is saying, thank you for defending me. Basically, continue doing so and let me guide you in the way you can defend me and harass this business. That is super incriminating.
Literally, it's like, oh, don't leave a Google review for those ones that you haven't been to. Leave a Google review for this other one that you haven't been to based on my TikTok. Like, you guys, we are very passionate about, do not leave bad reviews for places that you have not been. That's not what they're for.
And it's the same with like harassing people who we don't agree with online, things like that. You'll never hear us say, thank you guys for defending us. This is where you can go do it because it's really important that you guys get traction. It helps us so much. Absolutely not.
And there's
That's
also a
not
difference
responsible.
between supporting people and defending people. Like, you can offer your support and, for example, like donate to our GoFundMe. But like defending and like going to war over something that you have nothing to do with, no, it's not appropriate.
And remember, like, it was not immediately that she showed pictures. So people really ran with this right away. And again, jewelry companies stepped up. Like, everyone was all in without proof.
It comes down to the thing we always say, that it's like, you want to think that people wouldn't lie about stuff like that, where it's
Yeah,
like,
but come
that
on.
is something that would be very, I know.
But yeah, I don't think she realizes how bad she is digging herself a hole should King Jewelers ever proceed legally.
I don't know what the legal repercussions would be, but like there has to, like this can't be.
This seems
something
a
you're allowed
bit
to do.
slanderous, and I'm the last person to say
Yeah,
that.
exactly.
Beautiful family-owned company that's been in business for 103 years and has done nothing but great things. I've been speaking back and forth with the daughter of one of the owners, and she's very kind. So I just wanted to ask that you would delete your Google reviews if you left one in for the company in
Only in
Massachusetts.
Massachusetts,
The
though.
terrible King Jewelers that we don't like is in Nashville, and I think their other location is in somewhere all over Florida. I don't really know.
So she's throwing another one under the bus, even though that one has nothing to do with
That
hers.
is so irresponsible. So that video that we just watched actually wasn't the video that I was referring to. Sorry, I'm all over the place. This next one, I think, talks about the updates with the ring. She posted so many. Again, there's 8. And each one of them has like random things that she could have absolutely included in the beginning. Like, she should have let us know in the beginning that they offered to replace the ring. Like, that seems like an important bit of information. But she just leaves little bits
it seems
out.
like an
Just-
important bit to omit if you want your narrative to keep going the way it is.
Correct. But anyway, so this is one of the updates that hopefully is the one I'm referring to.
King Jewelers lost my 4th generation family heirloom and my boyfriend's $10,000 crystal and still won't compensate us. This is day 3. I'm here with the updates. We've got some good, some bad news. It's crazy. I want to apologize for not getting on here sooner. I've been literally working all morning. If you didn't know, I write personalized songs for a living. And I had to write a song for a father-daughter
Not the promo.
dance at Wilson.
I was just gonna say a little self promo to kick us
They
off.
took down all of the Google reviews that I left, that my boyfriend left, and that you guys left. I didn't ask anyone to leave Google reviews. I must
in this
clarify that for
video,
legal
but you did in the
purposes.
next.
Regardless, all the Google reviews were taken down, which totally goes against our right to freedom of speech and just proves how dishonest this company is. What I didn't get to mention yesterday is that y'all blew up their social media,
Which you wanted
and
them
were
to.
fighting for me like no one ever has before.
This is
I'm
wild.
Very grateful for all of your support and love throughout this process. It's been really touching, honestly, and validating. But because everyone blew up their social media, they turned their comments off. Crazy. I decided to do some further digging into this company where I learned that they were found guilty in a lawsuit with Cartier. Basically, Cartier sued them for selling counterfeit Cartier products. King Jewelers lost this lawsuit, which also lost them their partnership with Rolex and Cartier.
But I thought they were
it looks like
selling
this company's
counterfeit
been
ones.
shady long before I came along, and I'm feeling a lot less guilty about making this.
Oh, girl, you weren't feeling
I'm sure
guilty.
by now everyone's seen their Instagram story. If you didn't, pause the video.
As if everyone's following this jewelry place
Yeah, I
on
definitely
Instagram.
have not seen King Jewelers Instagram story, girl.
We acknowledge and understand your concerns. We previously extended our deepest apologies and immediately offered a brand new custom designed engagement ring on 2 separate occasions after notifying the customer, in which
Why is that redacted?
something
Is that her name?
Oh, it's the play button. I was like, what did they redact? That's weird. Regrettably, the package containing the ring and the gemstone was stolen in transit by FedEx. Stolen by FedEx, or it was in transit by FedEx, and then
Was stolen. I think that was poor wording, but I think they meant it was stolen in transit when they were
Yeah.
in FedEx.
FedEx probably wouldn't appreciate that wording. A situation beyond our control that resulted in an investigation along with a police report. We deeply empathize with the sentimental value attached to the piece, as our mission is to create lasting memories for all of our clients.
Basically, they're trying to defend themselves, saying that they did offer to make us a new ring. And of course, we declined their offer to make us a new ring. I don't want my engagement ring to be a reminder of a company that lost my family heirloom, lost the tanzanite crystal we used for healing purposes that was blessed by shamans,
Oh my God.
didn't tell us for 2 months. When we finally called them enough times for them to tell us, the owner didn't show up to our meeting. And then when he finally called us, he didn't take accountability. He basically sounded like he was reading from a script at the beginning too. He was like, I am so sorry that we lost your family heirloom. Now I find out that they were found guilty in a lawsuit with Cartier. I don't want their ring. I don't want them to make me a ring. I just want my money, and I want to take it elsewhere to get a ring that I will love and cherish forever. I don't want to ever think about King Jewelers again. I also feel like I need to add that when David King, the owner of King Jewelers, finally called us back, he mentioned that he had never seen the crystal or the ring before it got sent off, and then proceeded to go on to say in the same phone call that the ring couldn't be worth more than a couple $100, and that whoever sold us that tanzanite must have scammed us, because that tanzanite wouldn't be worth more than a couple $100 too.
Not
so
the
the ring
shaman
that
being
they
a
were going to
scammer.
make us was only going to be worth a couple $100. I mean, we have a receipt confirming that we paid $10,000 for the tanzanite.
I don't think the
I don't care
receipt
if
is
he
what
thinks
he's
it was
talking
only
about.
worth a
I think he
couple
means you got
hundred.
scammed.
We paid $10,000. It was massive. It was going to make a bunch of different jewelry pieces. And you know, King Jewelers does know how much tanzanite is worth, because I went to their page, and in May they sold a bunch of tanzanite pieces for $30,000, $6,000, and everywhere in between.
$30,000
So they know how much
must have been a
tanzanite's
fucking
worth. I
car
think it's safe to
size.
say we don't want a ring from King Jewelers. We just want our money and we want to leave. Now, on a more positive note, wow, the community has really
Okay,
come
all right,
together
all
to
right,
fight
all
for
right.
us,
Enough
and
is
that
enough. I can't listen to her.
No,
lick her own ass for
I'm
another
done with her
second.
bullshit already.
But what's interesting is she drops little tidbits like this, and in those comments, people are running with the narrative that I'm sure she loved, which was, wait, they sold all those tanzanite pieces? Again, she doesn't show shit. She doesn't show. How do you know? Do you know their inventory? Like, what are you talking about? But
But
anyway,
again, like, if hers was $10,000 and it was this giant piece, then why are they selling $30,000 pieces? That doesn't really add up.
well, she again doesn't show proof for any of this. And do I care to go to King Jewelers to see what fucking they sold in the month of May? No,
not even a little
I
bit.
don't. But the comments ran with it, and they're like, "Oh my god, it cannot be a coincidence that your tanzanite got lost, and they sold all this tanzanite. They took your tanzanite and sold it to everyone." And I'm like, we need to bring back brains. We need to bring back critical thinking. We need to all put our thinking caps on.
Literally,
That is the dumbest shit I've ever heard.
Oh my god, reading comprehension, media literacy, it's at an all-time
And
low.
I know it's like a religious thing to say discernment, like to have the ability to have discernment and to like basically you could look at someone and like catch their vibrations, okay, if they're not good. But like I feel like I have that, okay, even though I'm not religious.
I mean, my reaction was not, oh my god, I feel so. It was like, I mean, I would be mad if someone lost it, but there was a lot of caveats. What gave me the bad vibe is for people that are that comfortable, like begging a bunch of strangers
It's
to
weird.
do their dirty work for them, basically.
Exactly. And her reasoning for not wanting a custom ring, quite frankly, is dumb. I'm sorry. At the very least, if they made you a ring and then you sold it, same value, right? Like obviously not same sentimental value. Of course, it's an heirloom and I get
Yeah.
it. But if they gave you a ring that you could sell and then get a new ring, like it's just such a weird thing to be like, I don't want to look at that ring and like remember it was lost
I
in
was like,
FedEx.
okay, I
It's
feel like you don't need to attach that value to it. Then again, I mean, they were still dwelling on the fact that her husband's past life person was unalive. So I guess that is important to them. But
Girl, I cannot even begin to pretend that I think that that is normal. And this is coming from someone that was told that me and my brother were sailors in our past life and that I drowned and that's why I can't hold my breath underwater. And I believed that shit. And honestly,
I was going
maybe
to say,
I do.
you aren't
Still.
much of a water person, so maybe that does track. Actually.
Literally, I can't hold my breath for like more than 10 seconds. So when the person told me that, I started freaking out. And I'm not saying that I don't believe in past lives.
But to put that much value and importance in your current life on it is a bit.
Exactly. But also, I feel like we've talked about it a number of times at this point where the spiritual communities open up people to scams because you give people this sense of, let me give you access to a piece of you or a part of you that otherwise you won't be able to have access to. And I think that's all baloney.
There are some people that maybe they could tell me that and I would fully be like, oh, they really believe that. For her, I'm kind
Seems
of quite, I'm like,
bullshitty.
does she really think that?
Yeah,
or is
she's
she
like,
just
I'm just a
using
little
that as,
indie
like, her-
musician and like me and my boyfriend are
That
hippies.
got me. That was actually the first ick where it's like, I'm just a little indie musician. I was like, what
It
the
seems aesthetic to her is what I feel. Like she likes the lifestyle more than she actually lives it. But anyway, now it gets real juicy. You thought it was juicy already? So in enters this jeweler by the name of, I don't know because I'm not looking at the doc, Mureta and Co. Mureta and Co. I don't know. Being Hispanic, it does look like Mureta to me. So maybe I'll say it like that. But whatever. The owner's name is John Killinen. Why is all of these so hard to pronounce? Quillinen? So
I don't
this
know,
person was one of the people that offered to give Chelsea a new ring. So he commented on one of her videos and said, do you have a photo of your heirloom ring? We might be able to find something close and can pop a tanzanite in there for you. And then she responds and says, that's so sweet. I just posted a separate photo with the ring. So we can take a look at that in a second.
You didn't mention that there's the heart hands.
To use those unironically, never seen it before, I'm not gonna lie.
Literally. I was like, that is where the
Red flag.
reddest flag of all is.
So John ends up posting several pictures of this ring, so we will show you in a second. But then he says, oh, I have the perfect ring in inventory already. 1940s 50 platinum halo. Same size. I'll find a tanzanite and get it to you. What size finger? So like very straight into the point.
Oh, hi. Just chiming in because I think I might be going crazy. I swore we reacted to the now deleted video where they offer to make Chelsea the ring, but it's not in the footage, so maybe not. I don't know. Anyway, here it is.
I very much believe in serendipity, and I happen to have almost an identical ring to what you lost in my inventory. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you the ring with a tanzanite of your color choosing. If you want, AAA blue, let me know. If you want a purple stone, let me know. I'll put it in there. I'll size it for you and ship it to you for free. I love that I happen to have this ring, which is not only of the period, almost the exact same proportions as your great-grandmother's ring, and also, coincidentally, has an emerald center stone that I'll be switching out for a tanzanite. It's, I think, pretty much exactly what was lost, aside from the lack of prongs. If that's not serendipity, I don't know what is. So that's a sign from the universe. It's your ring. It belongs to you. Let me know where to ship it. Tell me your ring size. Follow the store at the pineapple door.
But what really started mixing shit up is when John deleted that comment and rescinded his offer to give her a ring. And mind you, up until this point, she had said on TikTok, this is like a battle of people who want to give me the rings, basically. And she's like, everyone's so sweet. And like Dawson really wanted to be the one. Dawson's her fiance, or not yet, I guess, because they don't have a ring. But Dawson was like the one that wanted to decide who was the jeweler to give the ring. Like he wanted to feel like he had control over that and just like to make it special.
Because he had so much control over the family heirloom part,
So
too.
he went with Genesis Diamonds, is I think the jeweler that they actually are going with, who, again, all of this free of charge, okay? Well, I guess John found out some info. No, I know he found out some info. That he was like, oh, hell no, I'm going to rescind that offer and actually fuck you, and I'm going to make several videos exposing you. And so he did, and it is great.
I'm rescinding my offer to give out a free ring to Chelsea King, and I will explain why right now. So initially, when I saw her first video, I thought that King's Jewelers refused to help her replace the ring, refused to replace the tanzanite, and refused to work with her at all. That's the impression I got from the video, and that's the video I responded to. In the follow-up to the video, Chelsea explains that, yes, they did indeed try to replace the ring. They tried to do a custom ring for her. They tried to replace the tanzanite. And Chelsea and her boyfriend, rejected that and said, give us $25,000 or else. And the or else was, we're going to go to the Better Business Bureau, we're going to go to Yelp, we're going to go to Google, we're going to post TikToks, etc., which is what Chelsea said in her video. Pay us out or we're going to do this. And as a small family business myself, King's Jewelers has 2 locations. There's this family that runs it. If I had a client come to me with the same issue, same exact scenario, I would have offered the exact same thing that David did to Chelsea. I would have said, I'm sorry that it was lost in the mail, which is what happened. I'm going to replace the stone and the ring for you. I'm so sorry. Took responsibility, offered a replacement. That's what I would have done too. And if my offer was received with, no, we don't want to work with you, give me $25,000 or I'm going to start review bombing you, I would tell you out of my shot. The compensation should be, market value for your tanzanite, which, here it is. And he said it was about 5 or 6 carats. So that's a $50 tanzanite on a good day. And that's a $250, $300 ring in materials. Let's say fully custom. You can.
Holy fuck, $50? 50?
I don't know what I was more alarmed by.
But it was blessed by a shaman.
That's what made it worth the $10,000. That was the extra $9,950. It was just the vibes.
I mean, well, she has the receipt. Where's the receipt, bitch? Because I'd love to see it.
And even if she does, that's even worse. I really hope you didn't pay that.
Yeah.
But also,
then that just is more embarrassing for you.
he's a tennis player. She's a little indie musician. How did they even afford a 10,000 tanzanite? Like, that just seems weird.
Okay, even when she said the indie musician, that gave me the ick already, the way she said it. But then also, when she followed it up with, he's a tennis player. I'm like, so
Like as a hobby.
you're well off. Yeah, I was like, not very many people are tennis players for a profession.
But I don't know what was more alarming. The $50 value that he guesses that Tanzanite was worth, which by the way, the picture he showed, if you want to go back to it,
Tiny.
tweezers. Those are the tips of tweezers.
Yeah.
Okay. This had to be taken with a fucking magnifying glass, basically. And do you remember the size that she says that Tanzanite was?
Grapefruit.
Grapefruit, bitch. Grapefruit. Grapefruit my ass. You thought your kids and your kids' kids' kids and your kids' 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 kids were gonna have Tanzanite earrings? You're delusional.
It's gonna go on for many lives past theirs.
Girl, I hope, I mean, literally, I hope that was just a piece that broke off of the Tanzanite and that we're all wrong. But if not, you got scammed.
Yeah, what?
So-
and that it's low quality. I love.
Yeah. He shows pictures of it in the follow-up TikToks, and it does look like a basic little tiny halo ring. The diamonds are tiny, 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 not very valuable. So the fact that she wanted $25,000 for something that, like, she's not saying, hey, I think that this is a fair price. She's saying, give it to me or I'm gonna leave reviews. And she said that. Now she left out the price and she left out the exact, specifics that we then find out, but she did that on purpose because it makes her look like shit. It makes her look like someone who basically extorted a business. And I know that we didn't watch all of Chelsea's videos. I will watch more of John's videos because I'm telling you, he just like quickly, swiftly just, ends her, and it's kind of slay. But anyway, John continues.
We make it for $650, $1,000 max, and you're strong-arming this business saying, give me $25K or else. I can't be generous in this scenario because what's happening here is wrong. The ask is borderline extortion. Yeah, so that's why I'm rescinding my offer. I cannot in good conscience show that I'm supporting Chelsea King. I would likely be in the exact same scenario as being my client.
Next, we'll watch a video where John posts some of the evidence between Chelsea and I think King Jewelers. Like, he got in contact with King Jewelers and, got some messages.
I have all of the evidence from the Chelsea King's Jewelers case. I'm going to share it with you guys now. But firstly, as a disclaimer, I am not involved with King's Jewelers. I'm not being paid by them. I'm not being compensated in any way. I'm doing this out of my own volition because I see a small family business with kids my age being targeted and extorted for $25,000 when the items they dropped off were worth in the low hundreds. So let's go piece by piece. Here is the initial uncut stone sent to me by David King, and more photos as well as the drop-off receipt matching the 999 on the left side of the initial photo he sent me. So this is the correct drop-off receipt. That's the correct stone. It's 5-6 carats max, not the 14 carat stone that Chelsea is stating. Now, if you look at the drop-off receipt, which I can tell you right now, the way these work is they ask you for a stated value. If you don't state a value, you don't get more than the maximum on the receipt. And stating a value does not cost you anything. There's no insurance cost for that. You just state this is worth $10,000. So if they paid $10,000 for the Tanzanite, Dawson, when he dropped off, should have said this is a $10,000 Tanzanite. He didn't because it wasn't, and he was lying. So that's why it's not stated on the drop-off receipt, and that's why he's limited to $800 in compensation.
$80. He says $80. Sorry, misread.
Signed and dated. That is legally what they are allowed to receive, $800. Here is the demand in the Better Business Bureau for $25,000 from Dawson because of, he wants to be compensated for plans.
Oh, wait. Okay, go on the bottom. Is that how people found out the price on the Better Business Bureau review? That's, I guess, how people found out the $25,000 thing. Because again, I cannot sit through that girl's, all of her videos. There's so many, but it says that that's what their desired settlement is. Because I guess you have to put that when you're putting a review in the Better Business Bureau. And yeah, he says, I would like $25,000 as a gemstone cost $10,000, and then the ring was an heirloom. It was priceless. And then it says, I had planned to propose. Dawson, nobody's going to pay you $25,000 because you had planned to propose.
To believe that King's Jewelers stole the Tanzanite and stole the ring to make big money off of it. Now, I can tell you, after reviewing the photos provided by Chelsea, the description provided by Chelsea.
Look at that ring. I know.
What is that photo?
I know.
Because
blurry ring.
literally, in 2024, you would have to try to make something that out of focus.
I know. That's how everything looks like for my eyes, just to put it into perspective.
If you didn't know, she has an astigmatism. Actually, my favorite comments on our videos are, how long before Jessie mentions her astigmatism?
Oh, not long. It happens in every episode.
Oh, it's coming. We have to zoom in a lot for our Google Docs. But that photo is criminal. That is the most diabolical part of this entire thing so far, I think. And the fact that, like, what would be the point? That it's like,
Because she
maybe
didn't
they
want
won't
people to see
realize
it.
that it's not worth $15,000.
Absolutely, that's what it
if
was.
I make it blurry. But that wasn't even just the one she provided to people. That was like what she provided to the jewelers.
Yeah, I think that's the one that it's since I think been deleted because I can't find it, but I think that's what he even saw when he offered her the ring and was like, oh, I could do something like that, no problem.
I don't know how you'd get that photo and not be like, ma'am, are you okay?
Yeah.
Who took this? Maybe it was the past life ghost.
I think he was just passing by when that photo was taken.
Anyway, that's insane. And then to see also the actual, like the one the jewelers took, like, no.
Oh, I know. It's super crisp.
Exactly. And shows a ring that looks like it was bought at an estate sale, which, sure, sentimental value, but come on. $15,000, that's an absolute
25
joke.
total.
Was under $500, period. Under any assessment in material value, under $500, period. Chelsea tried to insinuate that King's Jewelers stole her items again and made big profit off of them. There's no profit to be made. They were going to lose money making her a new ring. So that's completely irrational. Here's the police report showing that FedEx did indeed have the package stolen. Again, Chelsea made everyone believe that King stole it and is profiting off of her. Here's correspondence from the gem cutter talking to the police, getting the police report for King's Jewelers as well as the client and the insurance company. Here's the photo from Chelsea of her ring. Here's the photo from King's of the ring without the emerald in it. Same ring. And again, here are photos of the tanzanite. This is not a 12, 14 karat crystal. Even if it were, it'd be worth maximum $150 in this quality. But let's say it's 5, 6, 7, 8 carats. It's worth $100 maximum. Maximum. And they were demanding $25,000. Or else. Or we'll defame you online. That is the threat. That is called extortion. So to summarize this, King's Jewelers sent out her project on time. It was returned to them on time. It was stolen from a FedEx vehicle, and Chelsea King is on here crucifying King's Jewelers for trying to give her a replacement ring that would have been better and more valuable than her current ring.
So obviously, I mean, in comparison, just from his vibes, I'll go just off of that. Much better vibes
he
than
wins the vibe
Chelsea,
contest,
which is
for sure.
insane that people are review bombing him, okay, in the name of Chelsea. Because again, when you ask people to do that, they will do that no matter what, even if it's to the wrong person, as she proved when she's like, you guys got the wrong King's Jewelers. It's the one in Florida, or I guess they're in Florida.
was
Maybe they
crazy.
aren't. Who knows? It's like, girl, be for real. But also, they are not only leaving reviews on his page, he recently, this guy, John, had to make an entire TikTok defending himself because people were trying to like expose him for shit. And he started talking about like, okay, well, when I was younger, I stole a candy bar. And when I did that, like, he just went through his whole life. He's like, I don't know David from King Jewelers because he added him on Facebook. Okay. And he added him on Facebook to get in contact because of this situation. Well, people see he's friends with him on Facebook and they think they got him. They say, oh my God, you're friends with King Jewelers. Like, this is a conspiracy.
What would the conspiracy be? That he's just like lying about factual stuff you could Google?
It literally just seems like a jeweler who's like, you fucking lied and this could have happened to my business.
Yeah.
So fuck you.
Well, and it's not like he's presenting a bunch of like, oh, only a jeweler would know this. Like, no, he's showing the pictures that they had and the proof from like, no, this is unreal.
I'll just show one more video from John and we will be done, except for one little fun little video from Chelsea, but I swear it's really good. You'll love it. But yeah, this update from John was kind of funny.
My final update on the Nepo baby Bonnie and Clyde, Chelsea and Dawson, and the fiasco with King's Jewelers. If you don't know the story, I can summarize it really quickly. Two con artists are trying to con a jewelry store in Nashville, Tennessee out of $25,000 for $250 of material they dropped off and was lost in the mail by FedEx. That's a police report tracking photographs, evidence of the extortion, all of the above. It's clearly extortion. It's clearly a crime. And it's very, very blatant, very obvious if you have all the information in front of you. That said, I've been called out for being friends with David on Facebook. I friended him in order to get information from him for these posts. I was not friends with him a week ago. I was friends with him on Monday of this week. So never spoke to him beforehand, never been to his store, don't know him, never did business. Not that I wouldn't, but I haven't. I am not, nor would I ever accept payment for making a post like this.
People are
because
so
that's
dumb.
wrong.
I mean, honestly.
I would
Who
never
would
do
be
that.
paying
I
him?
would only
The
make this
jeweler?
post if I see
Yes.
that someone is being wrong.
People
and
have a weird
frankly,
idea of
I
how
don't
the
have
internet
ability
works.
to stop myself when I
Yeah.
see that something is wrong and it's happening to somebody and I can stop it or help.
Justice sensitivity,
I'm
I
not
get it,
going to
sir.
stand by and let someone be extorted and defamed on the internet by a con artist when I have the information and I have the platform to say, stop it. So Chelsea and Dawson, stop it. Now here's some more new information
him.
I learned. I will be being vague here because the information can be found very easily. It was found by us and also provided to us by users on TikTok. These two are very wealthy kids. So Dawson's father owned and has founded multiple medical device and medical software companies in Dallas. I'm not going to say his name because that's not right, but this guy's worth tens, if not hundreds of millions, his father. Chelsea's parents just sold their $3 million house in Piedmont, which is right across the bay from us, and bought I think, $7 million house in Maui, which she was celebrating on in her earlier videos on TikTok. Colonizers! Sorry. So not only are these two con artists, Bonnie and Clyde Nepo babies, going after a small family business and extorting them for $25,000, they are also trying to do this for a publicity stunt and meanwhile claiming to be a poor little indie musician and a little tennis coach at a high-end country club who also works for his father.
Oh, a tennis coach. So he's not even a tennis player. Or no, wasn't
Not
it a
even
golfer?
a tennis player. No, tennis. He was right. It's tennis.
Okay. Sorry, I must have gotten confused
But that's
with the past
basically
life.
it. So he exposes that her family lives in Maui, okay?
$7 million mansion. That's crazy.
No. What's even fucking crazier is she has a playlist called, I think it's Home, on her TikTok. And it shows mansions in Maui. The most ridiculous houses that nobody like us will ever fucking get to step foot in our lives. That's her family. But she's just a little indie musician. And she just needs the money because her Tanzanite was stolen because the shaman blessed it. Fuck off. I'm sorry. That is the biggest bullshit. And I knew it. When she said it, I knew it. The vibes were icky. They oozed from her curtain bangs.
And the way she so, with no hesitation, was down to ask, will you please go get this traction? What do you mean, girly? Like,
Yeah, what you wanted was attention for a situation that would get you money. Okay, so the $25,000, sure. And then
a little promo for
would get you attention on your music.
which she self-promoted in that second video.
I was gonna say, did you know that she writes custom music if you have a wedding coming up or anything like that? She can write you a song.
one for a father-daughter, didn't fuck off.
It's complete bullshit. It is such a example of the internet today. Like how
I was going to
people
say
jump
such
to
an
TikTok
example of how we
for
read
clout
vibes
and bullshit.
because that too.
And this is the last thing I swear really quick. She tried to do this before.
Stop.
Yes, she did.
Well, that shouldn't be surprising. They always do.
We paid $900 to see the Smile at the Ryman, and they lost our tickets and gave us tickets that were comparable to the initial tickets. And I looked online, and the tickets we have now are worth $75, and they won't give us any of our money back. So can we blow this up to try and get Ticketmaster and Live Nation in trouble? Because we got these tickets back in June, and they literally scammed us.
Not her having like a much more aggressive take on the exact same. We need to blow this up. We need traction. Blah blah. And it's like that's not how it works. Well, it is, but like
That's her vibe. She just wants people to blow this up so that they can follow her on TikTok and listen to her music. And that's really all this is.
So there was actually an update that we had at the time. I think we just forgot to read it. But our girl Chelsea posted on her Instagram story. And I quote, "Taking a break from social media. I'll be back eventually, but I've made my account private for now, so only y'all can see me, smiley face. There's an extremely misinformed and random man online who's made it his mission to rally people to threaten and harass me. Legally, I'm not allowed to comment on it until this is resolved behind the scenes. I also do not want to engage with him and give him the reaction he wants, but for my own mental sanity, I cannot be on social media." And that's it. So Chelsea hasn't posted on her TikTok since it looks like day 7 of her updates, where she said she hadn't been contacted by anyone. And it's like, yeah, girly, I wonder why. They're probably getting ready to sue your ass. Anyway, that was the only update. What did we learn today, though? Don't harass companies on behalf of people on TikTok, especially. But then also don't leave Google reviews for places you haven't been. Okay, that's all. Class dismissed.
Also, is this a bad time to say that Sabrina Carpenter is coming to Georgia in October and you should come and go with me?
Okay.
Really? Do you like Sabrina Carpenter?
Yeah, I do a lot. What?
Oh my God.
Aren't I supposed to come in November?
Okay, the Disney plans are fading. After I check the ticket
okay.
price.
Okay, so we kind of
They're
hijack
bad.
that
They're
trip
bad.
and then make it like a girlies trip.
Make it a girlies trip.
I'm very down for that. Disney World sounded like it was going to be a lot for me anyway. I was going to have to start smoking again so I could eat some edibles.
Well, we could just like be in my house. We could Uber there and then we could go to the concert and come back and everything will be fine. It'll be perfect.
Love that.
But what I will say is that all of the tickets technically like, you know, it's resellers now. So they're like selling for quite a price. So that's all I got to say. Everybody watch this video twice so we can go to the Sabrina Carpenter concert. concert.
But you've lucked out because when it comes to concerts, that's what I'm like, oh no.
It's worth it.
It's fine.
And Sabrina Carpenter, to
Yeah.
see that Polly Pocket on stage, I
Wait,
live.
no,
I
but
can't.
so is she doing her, what is it?
A stadium tour.
Oh,
Yes.
really? So she's graduating from Taylor, which people have shit on her,
Oh,
being
yes,
like,
honey.
oh my God, could you imagine opening up for so? It's Taylor Swift. That's like the golden ticket. Are you kidding?
Paramore's opening up for her.
Yeah,
and
like,
Paramore
shut
does
up.
stadium tours.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yay. Love that for her.
Anyway, okay, that's going to be our We Love the Internet because we've filmed for too long and we got to get our episode up. And also, I just wanted to convince Lily to go to the Sabrina Carpenter concert with me. So I think
It's
it
really
worked.
hard to do.
I know. I was expecting a little bit of pushback. And honestly, slay for that. I appreciate it. Anyway, guys, we have to get our episode up today. So I will let you go because
If you're confused,
Lily's
we
hot,
mean
I'm
the
hot,
previous episode
sweating.
that already is up at this
Whatever.
point.
Who
when you're
knows
watching
anymore?
this.
If you guys made it to the end, we appreciate you very much. And yeah, have a wonderful weekend and we'll see you on Monday. Bye.
Cheers.